Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Alright, I'm cutting that one short. Alright, so let's get on the way, ladies and gentlemen, with the chapter 210 review for Yona of the Dawn. Alright, so that being said, this chapter went completely unexpected for a number of reasons. We got some new information and stuff. I really like the chapter, but honestly, this chapter can be summed up sort of quickly with a fight, and we can more theorize what's going to happen next more than exactly what happened in the chapter, right? There's more like a lot of things that we can discuss and theorize and hypothesize about rather than exactly a page by page, because a big bulk of the chapter was, as we know at the end of the last chapter, Geun-tae, the Earth Tribe General, and his platoon there, his battalion, whatever, they were under assault by South Kai. And HAK shows up in time like, cha-ching, all right, I'm here, I'm a badass. And we were all like, yes, it's HAK, back in action, in his original uniform and all that good jazz. It's like, time to get pumped. Now, Geun-tae did take a number of arrows in the back. I believe it was 3. He took 3 arrows in the back and stuff. He took an arrow to the knee like a soldier in Skyrim. So the thing is that I didn't expect it to go quite this way, because what do we have? HAK just orders Yona right away and says, hey, you got to deal with, like, go help heal the general, go deal with that shit. I'm gonna deal with this. And now, of course, the other soldiers, they can't reach. They've got the high ground, Anakin, the high ground, and it's just like, all right, well then we can't reach them with the arrows. We're not, like, we're just being bombarded, etc. When we're too far away, we can't hit. And so HAK just goes over. Let me borrow this. All right, yeah. 3 arrows, boom. 3 arrows, boom. He's pulling a Legolas from Lord of the Rings shit, and I'm just like, well, this is HAK. So it's perfectly acceptable. Though, I did notice a translation issue. Did you guys notice it? Because from what I understand, he joined the Sky Tribe, right? He joined the Sky Tribe as a new recruit, a foot soldier, if you will. Technically still his status. This translation, I don't know if there's other translations out, but the translation that I read states that he's the Wind Tribe's new recruit. That makes 0 sense, so I'm assuming it's just a translation error. So, yeah, he's a Sky Tribe's new recruit, because a lot of the people recognize him as the Thunder Beast, of course, and he's just like, nope, I'm just a Sky Tribe recruit, and I'm going to call him a Sky Tribe recruit, because that's the whole point. That was the whole point of this arc and stuff, is that he became a foot soldier in the Sky Tribe. He's no longer a part of the Wind Tribe, he's not the Thunder Beast, etc., right? So, and then we get an awesome action sequence. I love seeing HAK back in action. It's been a while since we've had some true, real action with, like, the dragons or HAK or anybody like that. And it's great to see. And also one of the best parts is the fact that they keep firing. He keeps winning. And of course, he does the classic Vampire Hunter D. Catches the arrow in midair and just, like, crush. And I was just like, yeah, HAK is the man. HAK deserves a poster in everybody's goddamn office. I want one right on that wall. But either way, point of the fact is, he's a badass, and then we get to see some of we've been missing this for a while. HAK is giving his glare, his very murderous, like, I'm gonna kill you, sort of, like, I'm in combat mode. I've gone all hunter on your ass. And then even the commander up on the hill just went, we're going to retreat. We're going to retreat, because he could tell this guy was going to slaughter all of them. He was not going to lose. So they're like, are you sure, sir? And then he said, well, basically, we've achieved our 2 objectives. It would be dangerous to push our luck. So clearly one of the objectives was to take out Geun-tae. That's a very smart maneuver by South Kai. But my problem is that, what's the second objective? Am I missing something? Like, what benefit did they gain by taking out they gained the benefit of taking out Geun-tae, sure. I understand that. But what was the second objective? Did somebody sneak past them on the border while they weren't looking, like General Val or somebody like that? Did somebody sneak into the Earth Tribe border while this battalion was trying to defend this section? Somebody around the rocks or something? I don't know, but clearly there's something else that we are not aware of. And 2 is even written in bold. There are 2 objectives, all 2 of them. So what happened? I have no idea, really. But clearly there's another objective. That, or I'm just completely forgetting something else that South Kai said they were going to do. Anyways, point of the matter is that then we get after Hawk's being a badass, we go into the fact that he says, how's the general, blah, 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 and he's like, Yon's like, actually, I'm not going to lie to you, it's pretty fucking bad. It's pretty bad. He might not be fighting anymore. Like, he's pretty seriously injured, and just like, so, like, is he paralyzed or something? They don't really state it, but they said that his injuries are extremely severe, and the way the translation reads it is that General Geun-tae may not be in fighting shape anymore. They don't say his life is in danger, but they say that he might not be able to fight anymore. So I'm thinking maybe there's some type of spinal injury or something like that. Maybe he might have the possibility of being paralyzed or something. It's too soon to tell, but then we get the reactions of everybody else. Even like Hawk's just about this and stuff, and everybody's just like, God damn it. And the little boy, Callaghan or whatever his name is, they're like, please, Yon, you have to say, because remember, we've met him before in previous arcs. He's just like, Yon, you have to say the general, you have to say the general. And all the Earth Tribe soldiers are going, you're lying, kid, there's no way. It's General Geun-tae. And of course, he was the man who was going to lead the major force of the army, right? Like, technically, soo-won leads the army, but that's more like a commander-in-chief. He would have been the general, right? Like, even though you have, like, the Wind Tribe, the Fire Tribe, and everything, most of them would have been at the disposal of Geun-tae. Geun-tae being the warrior general of the armies, right? So, that being the case, then given all of that, we jump over to Soo-won and Jo-do and Ki-sok, and they're also talking about this, and sort of like, this is hurting our morale like crazy. This is going to, Ki-sok goes into an inner monologue. Jo-do is like really, because of course Jo-do is another, probably the only other one next to Mundok that I would argue is like on a comparable level. You have Jo-do, you have Geun-tae, and then you have Mundok. They're probably the only ones, but Mundok is of course extremely old, and even though he's in crazy fighting good shape, you know, it's still, he's not going to be the one, he's never going to take the reins as the major general-in-chief sort of idea, right? So they're sort of talking about this, how the morale boost is going to hurt people, how, like, in not just in the Earth Tribe, but in the other tribes and stuff. This is a horrible move, like a great move by South Kai, but a horrible thing for Koka Kingdom to now have to go to war without their star general, the one who raises the willpower and the battle morale of all the tribes, of all the citizens, right? It's General Geun-tae, right? So, and Jo-do does not have that level of charisma. Mundok, once again, retired and old, not really bringing the same pull either. So who do you put in charge? Now, when they're talking about this, I'm thinking the whole time is that you want a morale boost, you lost Geun-tae, here's what you do. You put the literal, and you recognize him as it. You say, the Thunder Beast is going to be the commander of the army. You put HAK in charge, which he's already proven himself in an army format before, and he's got the tactics of Soo-won. Ki-sok knows all this. Remember, he thought that Soo-won was there in the last arc, in that war, in that battle. He thought that Soo-won was there because this is a tactic only Soo-won, well, Soo-won would have thought of so quickly and stuff, and then he realized it was the Thunder Beast and stuff. Like, so he's got the mind for it, and he's got the power for it. He's basically a perfect substitute for Geun-tae, and I'm very shocked on sort of the message. This might still be the case, but they're talking about replacing the general, not the commander-in-chief. They need to fill the hole that is given by the morale loss. Now, granted, the morale loss, sure, but as far as the army in general, like, I just found it very shocking. Like, what would raise... I'm not arguing the end of the chapter. This is a good move, but I think a better move, honestly, for an infantry troops would not have another, like, a princess stand beside the king, but have the Thunder Beast, the greatest warrior in the kingdom, be recognized, his title restored, and he's taking charge of the army. You want to raise morale after losing your star general? You bring in another star general, right? You lose Tom Brady, you don't bring in a no-name. Like for a sports metaphor here, guys, I mean, I'm sure you know what I'm saying, but I just don't really understand. Like, you lose Wayne Gretzky on the ice, or you lose Michael Jordan, or you lose Tom Brady. You don't replace the coach. You don't bring in a great coach, but you don't bring in a great coach to fill that void. You bring in Peyton Manning. You bring in Troy Aikman. You bring in Mark Messier. You bring in Charles Barkley. You bring in You bring in another superstar that may or may not be as good or whatever, but is in that tier, in that league. Someone that you bring in a legend. That's what you do. So, but once again, these are the players on the field. You've lost a key player on the field. You lost your quarterback. You lost your goalie. Replacing the coaching staff or the general manager or adding to them is not going to help the fact that you got no goalie. You got no star player, So that, I found the whole chapter was very good overall, and this can still be the case, but I think Ki-sook's first, they should have been talking about HAK being reinstated and officially recognized as the Wind Tribe's Thunder Beast, the general of the Wind Tribe, reinstated, he's the Thunder Beast, all that stuff. That would have been and that still can happen, but I think it has to happen. Because, as I said, with the analogy I brought up with sports, it's great that Yona is going to be there to help lead the army in at the end of the chapter. Ki-sook comes to her after she has this crazy dream, or is it a prophecy? Who knows? Ooh, she has a very bad dream about all the dragons, they're dead, and so are soo-won and Mei-nin from the Crimson Dragon illness and everything, and Zeno's the only one alive. She sees the castle burning, and she's just shocked, and she wakes up from this bad dream. The dragons are there. Zeno sort of can tell she had a bad dream. She clearly had a nightmare, etc. But they don't get a chance to talk about it because Ki-sook says, I apologize for the late hour, etc., etc. But I am here to ask you for a favor. Here's what's going down right now. I don't believe he actually says that Geun-tae is now down. Yona is not aware that Geun-tae is now injured and out of the fight. But she'll probably be informed of that in the next chapter or so or whatever. Or it could be off screen. We can just assume she'll get the information. At first, when he showed up there, I thought he was going to talk about bringing in Yona and the dragons. I want, because he says, I have a request. I want to bring, the dragons into the army so that the morale lost by Geun-tae will be elevated by the religious beliefs and the power of the dragons. The mystifications, the legends of the four dragons will replace that morale that may have been crumbled or lost. That was another thing. But instead, he does not ask for the dragons on the battlefield. He doesn't talk about HAK, which once again is the better tactical move in my opinion. But he says, Yona, I want you to stand beside the king during this war, during this campaign. I want you to be there. I want you to be at the king's side, which, granted, part of a morale boost, sure, but remember, there's a lot of also disgruntled citizens. They still see soo-won as the good king and stuff. Yona and her adventures are sort of in the mystification, I guess, but still, I don't know. Honestly, the dragons bring more of a morale boost to the troops on the ground, as would HAK on the ground. Yona standing beside the king is a political move, not a great tactical move. So then he just says, he doesn't ask about the dragons, doesn't ask about HAK. He says, and when you're there, if something happens to the king. And I know he's thinking on two fronts. So maybe I'm giving Ki-sook a little too much flack here, but he's thinking on both fronts that, okay, so we lost our star general, and we might lose our commander-in-chief in the way of soo-won because of his health recently. So I'm not arguing that Yona should be there beside the king. That is a great move by Ki-sook. But there are more moves and also better moves that take priority right now. Soo-won is still up and active. Getting Yona to stand beside him, and Ki-sook, if something befalls the king, you become commander-in-chief. You become the head of the army, right? Which, once again, not bad from a political standpoint and from a morale standpoint. They lose their king, they still have their queen. They still have the princess, the red-haired princess, right? They still have the one who brought the dragons, who has the Thunder Beast, who has the 5 dragons under her spell, if you will. The mystical princess who survived tyranny and stuff. They have now, not quite yet, but almost a legendary princess. If anything befalls the king, she'll just pick up right where that went off, and it won't be any issue as far as the morale of the army. This being said, once again, the dragons aren't going to leave her behind, of course, so they're probably going to be involved naturally. So maybe Ki-sook is betting on that, and that's why he didn't mention the dragons. But as I said before, I've made my points about it. HAK needs to now fill Geun-tae's shoes. He's the only one that the Fire Tribe will listen to him. The Water Tribe will listen to him. The Wind Tribe wants to be only following him. He's won over the foot soldiers of the Sky Tribe. Like seriously, they'll all listen to him. He's the Thunder Beast. It makes total sense to put now him in charge if Geun-tae is going to be out of the fighting. Geun-tae might be able to recover and be up at the command center and helping out with the strategies and stuff with Soo-won and Ki-seok and Jo-do and Yona and all that stuff. He might still be available in that capacity. But as far as leading the charge, we need a great general. Who else can replace him? Jo-do needs to be at the command center with His Majesty. Jo-do potentially could lead an army, and maybe you could argue Taijun's brother there in the Fire Tribe, but Taijun's brother is nowhere near, and I forget his name, but he's nowhere near the charisma or the legends or the power scaling or anything like that compared to Geun-tae. And Moondog's going to be too old. Moondog would do it if there was a kidnapping or something. And Moondog might be involved. Of course, the Wind Tribe is going to be involved, but Moondog probably doesn't want to be in charge or lead the army. So you only got HAK. Realistically, you only have HAK left. So hopefully, once again, I like the chapter because all this is still possible. Everything I'm talking about is still possible. But the fact of the matter is that should have been their first thought. We lost our player on the field. Replacing the coaching staff or bulking up the coaching staff is not going to help that we have no fucking quarterback, right? So we have no team captain. Yeah, we have general managers and coaches galore. Fantastic. Doesn't help because they aren't the ones playing the game. I mean, they'll help, but not when we have no quarterback, not when we have no goalie, not when we have no, point. So this is the problem, is that should have been his first thought was, okay, we lost Geun-tae. We didn't lose our commander-in-chief. We lost our star player. So we need to replace a general with somebody else as a general. And HAK was a general. That was relinquished, but he was the general of the Wind Tribe. So he can jump right into that position, no problem. And that might happen in chapter 211. So, but yeah, I think that should have been his first thought. And this whole Yona stuff should have been secondary. And we should have seen this scene in the next chapter, and we should have seen a continuation of the conversation between Soo-won and Jo-do. Remember, Soo-won, we haven't seen his expression or anything that HAK volunteered to go help him, to try to save him and stuff. So if Ki-seok, somebody else mentions it, Soo-won might just be silent about it and stuff, but we could have seen a more reaction. I think that conversation should have been extended, and they should have at least put HAK on the block. They should have mentioned it, who could replace Geun-tae, and then maybe Soo-won thinks back to HAK or something like that. He thinks about it. Maybe it's not said out loud, and then Jo-do thinks to himself, His Majesty's probably considering the same thing I am, or something like that. And we could have known that they know who can replace him, And this isn't just coming from a HAK fanboy stance, guys and gals. This is coming from the fact that just because I don't have that poster on the wall doesn't mean I'm not a fanboy. But the point is that, seriously, I've already laid it out. Who can replace Geun-tae? Literally only HAK. Water Tribe father? No. Moondog? Too old. Fire Tribe? No. Earth Tribe? Dead. And, well, not dead, but down and out. And Jo-do is going to stand by His Majesty. So out of the 5 tribes, you've got nobody. Jo-do would be the only one, but then he'd have to leave the protection on the side of Soo-won. And I don't think he wants to do that. Maybe for a battle, maybe for a skirmish, but he can't be the one leading the charge. He can't be there amongst the troops day in and day out while His Majesty sits back unprotected, blah, 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 and he has no idea what's going on. That's not really Jo-do. The Sky Tribe might have an army and they might need a leader, but Jo-do always stays in the encampment for the most part. So I don't really see that. And he also can't replace, in my opinion, the charisma and the morale boosting that Geun-tae can. Only the Thunder Beast can do it. So, I mean, once again, the dragons were another option, and maybe Ki-seok, as I said, is betting on the fact that if he asks Yona and Yona agrees to go, the dragons aren't going to sit back at Hiryu Castle and just, wonder when Yona dear is getting here. Oh, I'm sure the little miss is fine. Where's the princess? Are they really going to do that? No, they're going to go with her. So, anyways, guys, I've rambled on long enough. Thought the chapter was very good. Excited to see Hawk back in action, especially. Very shocking to see that Geun-tae was taken out. Like, I didn't assume that. I thought that maybe, it seems very dire, in fact. Like, way more dire than I gave it credit for, I guess. I guess I assumed it was manga. I mean, Boromir died after 3 arrows. So, and in the books, it was multiple arrows. So, it might have been even more. But either way, yeah, so don't take this shit lightly. Sometimes there's a little bit of realism, even in manga. And that's, 3 arrows to the back would put anybody out of commission, as far as I know. It could kill, 1 arrow can kill a man, so... that's definitely true. But anyways, I really liked the chapter. I hope you guys did too. Like, comment, and subscribe as always, and let me know what you guys thought about the chapter. What did you agree with my theories? Do you think Hawk is officially going to take command in this arc when the fighting actually begins? Is he going to be the one leading the entire collective Koka Kingdom army? I think it's the smartest choice out of everybody we know, but maybe some roadblocks and political bullshit will stand in the way of that being the case. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe as always, and we will see you guys back here next time for chapter 211 of Yona of the Dawn. Yeah. Well, that kind of hurt. I tried to do the in my throat that time. Anyways, all right. So we'll see you guys back here next time. Drink responsibly as always. Peace out.